Basically for me, because I got married when I was 20, it was more of I don't want what my parents had. And then the last straw for me to actually say after 9 years, I'm actually walking away from the situation is because my marriage was literally starting to become like that of my parents. We're no longer sleeping in the same bedroom. We're no longer doing what the other couples are doing. Not that I was comparing with other couples, no. But the dynamics of our marriage had changed. So I was like,
Welcome to an all-new episode of Looks and Wisdom Sundays with me, Oluchi B. Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Looks and Wisdom. And today's episode is called the After Show Chit Chat, where I speak with guests on a topic that I've covered on the show. So last week we were actually speaking about that true love is actually conditional, and this week I have in studio with me today a very good friend of mine, my Scotty Biscuit, honey, Nicky. Hey Nicky.
Hey.
Should I say the same name or what?
no, it's
Okay, so this is Nicky. Nicky's my friend, and she's an entrepreneur and 5'2" lawyer like Kim Kardashian. Honey, when are you finishing?
I'm literally finishing this year. So
Baby bar. Like, come on, we need to have a lawyer in the circle, honey. So so we are still speaking romantic relationships because it is February. So what did you do on Valentine's Day?
I spent the weekend with family.
Okay. So you're the right person to have in this topic. So the reason why I wanted to have Nicky on this show, so I'm going to be having two guests who are going to be speaking on the same topic from two varying angles, obviously. One is Nicky, who's here with me today. So Queen, unfortunately, Mumabuya, so point as funny as and then Queen has two beautiful children as well, and she's in her 30s. So we're going to be talking just around love, romantic relationship. So before we get into today's situation, first of all, how are you feeling?
I'm excited to be here, and I watched the previous episode. It was really intriguing. Like, you were talking like referencing your Michelles and referencing everybody, like some of us aspire to be in terms of being long-term relationships and all of those things. So it's such an honor for me to be here, basically. Thank you for it.
Thank you. Hello, we did speak about Barack and Michelle. So
Yeah.
We're on the same level. So before we go any further, what was like your biggest takeaway? So it can be one or multiple. So what was some of the things where you were like, hello, I didn't think about it like that?
It's the part where Michelle was saying, if you're married for 50 years and then you have 10 years that are horrible, then you should know that you're on the right track. And
for you, T, at the back, what was your biggest takeaway from last week's episode?
My biggest takeaway was that you have to learn that not your love language is somebody else's love language. You have to understand that somebody wants to be loved in a certain way, and sometimes your way of loving can be something different to them.
Yeah. And for me, my biggest takeaway is just around foundation, solidifying that foundation, making sure you know what you want in a relationship, and making sure that the other person also knows, and then you guys work together to create that anchor that's going to save you in the hard times, when the hard times do come. So my first question to you is, on your first marriage, obviously you were very young and you were a baby. What was your last straw?
Basically for me, because I got married when I was 20, it was more of I don't want what my parents had. And then the last straw for me to actually say after 9 years, I'm actually walking away from the situation is because my marriage was literally starting to become like that of my parents. We're no longer sleeping in the same bedroom. We're no longer doing what the other couples are doing. Not that I was comparing with other couples, no. But the dynamics of our marriage had changed. So I was like, you know what, this is not what I signed up for, because now I'm a mom and a dad while their father is here, and we're supposed to be holding this turf together, but I'm doing it by myself. And it's exactly what my mother is doing, so I don't want to be like my mom. I am tapping out, and I did.
Okay. And knowing that I think I also speak about the same thing in my book, where I was like, my relationship was mirroring my parents' relationship. I am this person who is perpetually unhappy, but I am this person who perpetually is staying in an unhappy relationship, because that is the model that you have of a relationship, that it doesn't matter if it's toxic, it doesn't matter if it's non-symbiotic, it doesn't matter what's going on, we're not sleeping in the same bed, but I'm staying. Like,
yes.
for this. And for me, while you were busy Mboko doing, how was that experience for you? And I'm asking this because if you guys remember, Fazika, ex-wife Yaga DJ Fresh, her life story is based on Bogodi. Like, there was no element or aspect where she was talking about the joy of the relationship. It was always like the Bogodo element, like I'm carrying. So for you, before the last straw, how was that like? And what was the main point that was like, I will end all?
So, you know, this whole narrative of Musadi Usharatiba, Halim, and Bogodo, and all of those things. I remember things started becoming sour on our 3rd or 4th year. That time I already had my son.
You are dragging this 5 additional years. Okay.
Yes. Not by choice though.
Yeah.
Not by choice.
Yeah.
So what had happened was when I realized that no man, this is actually not what I signed up for, because in the beginning it was nice. We're loving on each other. We do things that couples do. Go out, do this, do that. And then when I realized that I'm actually Mbogodori now, I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. So what happened was on the 4th year, I left. I went back home in the Eastern Cape. He came and I apologized to my family. No, man, you can't do this. We're still young. We can still fix this. And then his parents and my parents, talking to a point where you said on your previous episode last week that don't involve your family, don't involve your friends, don't involve anybody in your relationship, because that's when things, you know. So the families were involved, obviously, because we're married now, and then they said, no, it's no longer about us, it's about everybody in the family involved. So they went to Eastern Cape to go fetch me and my son. Little did I know I was going to have a child again.
And did that contribute to the Mbogodori?
Yes.
I'm staying for the kids, I'm staying now for the, not for the first one, now there's a second one, so I'm staying for the kid again.
I'm damaged goods, so who's going to want me? Because I've got 2 kids.
And was this perpetuated by the people in and around your environment? Because you know we can't trust the family.
Yes, it was.
A lot.
Because if you see, more especially on social media, when people are talking about their relationships, and then when you go dive in on the comment section, you'd find men shaming women, and then they're forgetting that we didn't bring these kids on our own.
Exactly.
And I also deserve to be loved, because clearly the men that I was with didn't love me enough to say, you know what, I am effing up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick it through. This is the woman that I chose to be the mother of my kids.
Yes.
But regardless of that, and I just want to highlight that when I met my baby daddy, he was literally earning 3.5, but I was labeled as a gold digger, and I was like, 3.5.
Which gold are you digging?
Really?
Like, what are you?
No, I was digging coal.
So and all of those things, like you there for financial security, you have to stay. You there because now the children. You there because the society. You there because of your own trauma. You there because of the modeling that you've seen from your parents.
Yes, but let's take out the financial stability, because there wasn't any.
3.5 at least is doing something.
Baby, we were still staying at his parents' house in the backyard.
I know, but you guys were 20. Oh my god. Yeah, that definitely made sense. So we've spoken about the last straw. We've spoken about the Mbogodo situation. And then take us back to the beginning. Why the decision to get married so young?
It wasn't a decision that was made by us.
Yeah, when I get Oxan, guys, it's
Good to
Aye.
It wasn't a decision that was made by us.
Yeah.
We were just kids who met at Groove, and then we liked each other, and then some sort of a relationship started. He was a very sweet guy. He still is, but to a certain degree, obviously, because now we're no longer in a romantic relationship.
There's that beef.
Yeah. So we started dating, and then 3 months into the relationship, I fell pregnant. And then the parents are like, yeah, you guys are still young. You can grow into this thing together. Bloody, yeah. So the decision was made by his parents to an extent that every now and then, when we now saw that we literally no longer in this marriage together, he would remind me of, it was never my decision to get married to you.
Okay, now you adding salt to injury.
Son.
And then looking at how your relationship with him started, the baby came early, like 3 months, guys. You don't know a person.
No.
And then you guys drag it for an additional 9 years, and you eventually like, okay, I'm like cutting it off. With the stuff that we spoke about and we learned last year, do you think there was ever a time and space for you guys to talk about your non-negotiables, to talk about the foundation of the relationship, to actively communicate in an effective way, like sit down and evaluate?
So yes, there were times like those. I remember when I sat down with him and I said to him, you know what, we've got a child now and we're still staying with your parents' bedroom. So we need to start looking at options of how do we grow as a couple. And then that is when I asked him to take me back to school, because obviously my parents could not afford anymore. And the fact that also I was now married, I was no longer their responsibility, so they say. And then his answer was, I would never take a bitch to school.
Okay.
Because once you start making it,
we're gonna find you.
Because once you start making it, you're gonna forget about me. And I was like, no, I'm never that type of a person. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna let this thing go. I'm gonna try and find other avenues to make money, and then see how we go about. I was like left at home being part and parcel of the furniture. I would not go anywhere, but he would be gallivanting everywhere. And then I was like, you know what? These were not discussed before when we started dating. So there's definitely, these are my non-negotiables, because I cannot be that mom and also be a mother to him and tell him what to do and what not to do. So my non-negotiables were, like, that was the time when I was 20. Infidelity. Thank you, ma'am. I am not going to stay for infidelity. But funny enough, I stayed.
Through it all. Always the case for all of us.
Through it all, I stayed.
And Beyonce, honey. She even wrote a song about it.
Sana. Later on in life, I suggested that we go for marriage counseling, and then he's like, no, that's taboo, it's not for black people, it's a white people stuff. I was like, okay, thank you, sir.
All right, cool. No, it's fine. Definitely understand. So, and then how was the treatment after the decision? Now you guys are like signing, I'm leaving, bye. Were you guys able to work on a new anchor for now your co-parenting element of things? Because obviously you guys are separating, but you guys have these 2 beautiful children that you guys are raising. Was the let's sit down, how we're going to negotiate co-parenting, what's going to be our anchor, and how we're going to navigate that?
Sana, everything that we suggested, it came from me, because I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be that bitter baby mama who's going to be like, no, you're not going to see your kids, or this and this and that. So everything, it was communicated on WhatsApp. There was never a time where we could be cordial and sit down and say, let's have this conversation, how we're going to co-parent and whatnot. So because I was on social media, and then there were couples around me that would talk about separation and all of those things, I tried to incorporate everybody's opinion and then see if that's going to work and whatnot. So I suggested that we do like the second week and whatnot. And then he would support the kids in terms of like buying groceries and stuff. Sana asengitre engakanyama kuthiwe yabantwana ne-1 kg rice kuthiwe yabantwana for the whole month. I was like, okay. But anyways, There was never like a time
sit
where
down.
we
Okay,
sit
cool.
down. Yes.
And then because there was never like a strong anchor and foundation, what role did that play in your co-parent? Because you guys have been co-parenting together for some time now. Did that, because you guys didn't sit down and discuss it, did that then affect your guys' relationship as co-parents?
Yes.
And in what way?
In a very negative way, because we're like a cat and a dog. We would not speak for a very long time. Even if things are concerning the kids, we would just not speak. Because who wants to be sworn at every single chance a person gets because they're angry for whatever reason that they're angry for?
Yeah.
And it's not my fault that I walked away. It was all your own doing. I would have been with that man still, even today.
Yeah.
But what can you say?
And like Barack Obama said on his clip last week, did you guys find like a common mediator? Because they found Michelle Obama's mom to be like the mediator between the two of them when they were not seeing eye to eye. Was that something that happened for you in terms of maybe your mom can be like the mediator person in terms of trying to have this relationship going between you, him, and the children, or his parents, or anybody, even me?
Baby, my mom was like, child, walk away from the situation now. It's getting out of hand. Because the next thing, you're going to be like those girls. I was like, Mama, I've got 2 kids that I need to think of. The only best thing for me to do is just walk away. So we didn't have like a mediator.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I'm lying. There was a priest that came from church because the parents were like, it is beyond them and whatnot.
Yeah.
Guess what happened, honey?
What happened, honey?
He never showed up.
Okay. I guess that was a sign to be like, F it.
Yes.
And then now, is the relationship better? Is the co-parenting relationship better? Have you guys healed and like moved on from the situations of the past?
Sana, can I be like Michelle for a second? I never had any problems. I was perfect.
Okay, we're not perfection. Okay.
So we definitely trying now.
Yeah.
It's better than the previous times. Like if I suggest something, he's open to discussing it. Yes, we still communicate via WhatsApp, but it's not a daily thing where we talk about things like those. I came to realization that I'm actually tired of parenting by myself. So he needs to have like a fair share.
You've been very vocal about that these days.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you, Queen, because honey, the Queen was carrying the load on her own.
No, I can't.
But God doing harder than before.
Yeah. So now he's on board with that. So we're gonna have like shared residency.
Yeah.
Of which that's gonna work out perfectly for me. More especially like that.
So you can journal on the side.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that people never talk about is the shaming that comes after leaving a marriage. Did you experience any of that? Yeah.
Sana, I did, and I learned early on abantu bazogcina syndrome to leave it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I would have been miserable in that marriage had I stayed with that mentality. Yo, abantu bazogcina. My mom till this day still has that.
Abazali guys, abazali.
To disrupt you with that, but the term trap, it reminds me of being told constantly that I trapped him.
I would have also thought the same
With
because
the
it was
kids.
3 months in and you were a gold digger trying to dig his gold.
And there was no gold. It was just cold. And now when I look at it, I actually trapped myself, not him, because he's out there living his best life. He's remarried. He's got another child. Here I am, just recently met the love of my life with 2 kids.
Please guys, never give up on love.
Never.
Never give up on love. Never give up. So really just that shame around living a marriage, living a relationship, being like, it's society will always do that for you. And I'm so happy that you managed and got to survive that. So while you were a spring chicken then on the other side, what was some of your thinking when it came to relationships? So okay, the pumile abasan, pumewa boss, oh, what are you thinking? Fuck relationships for life, honey. Man, trash.
No, you know what
niggas ain't shit.
Yeah, we like saying that niggas ain't shit. I know especially when you're going through the most with the niggas.
I've actually made it a point to stop saying that because I was like, if I keep saying niggas ain't shit, then I'm always going to be getting the ain't shit niggas. So
yes.
I was like, honey, men, but they are good men.
Yes, there are good men, loving men out there. So for me, I've always been a lover of love.
So
I never gave up on love. Kakhulu. But what I like is I always deal with one person at a time. I can't do multiple men because ndiyaloqa. So uloqa kwam end up confusing things and all of those things. But anyways, let me get back to your question. Your question was, did I say fuck shit, like fuck love and all of those things? No, I never did. Even though society had painted that I'll never find love, there's nobody who's gonna treat me with respect and whatnot, take me with my 2 kids and because I'm used goods now and all of those things.
Yeah.
However, I looked at life as this was a lesson for me to learn for my next relationship to do better.
I love this for the Queen, honey, because that's the propaganda I push anytime. Be like, son.
Yeah.
Michelle.
Michelle, I also had my aha moment, that epiphany after a relationship to say, you know what, most probably I was also at fault. I did a self-introspection to say, okay, this is where I've done wrong. I am not perfect, as much as I had said earlier that Michelle Obama, perfection, honey.
Yeah.
No, I was not. I had my own faults that most probably till today I would not hear from him because he has never said what were my faults.
Yeah.
But I tried to analyze from the relationship that we had, and then I pinpointed my own faults.
Yeah. And then that's called accountability, ladies and gentlemen, taking accountability for the role that you played in the demise of the relationship. Because what did Will Smith say last week? We are all toxic and we bring toxicity to whatever we touch. So
yes.
Being aware of that and being cognizant of that and knowing allows you to heal quicker, because you're like, hello, me, myself, and I are the part and parcel of this contribution in this toxic relationship. And that was very important, accountability. And did you do any healing? What was like your healing journey like?
I went for therapy sessions. I went for therapy sessions. The way I was crying, I was like, why?
Did you love therapy? Because I love therapy, guys. I didn't want to go. I was like, I want to go there and cry all day.
So I had 6 sessions. On my 4th session, I was like, can we extend? It feels so nice.
Me too,
yeah.
me too. I was happy to be in therapy, honey. I was looking forward to going there and cry. Because outside of anything, for me, it was really the fact that as black women, we are not allowed to cry. And most importantly, they're going to think like relationships are like this small thing that is not important. But guys, we live in emotions.
Of course.
And I was like, for me, I was not even married. I knew that people were not going to take it seriously. I'm going to therapy because of a failed relationship, because it was not a marriage. And I was like, I'm just going to keep quiet and I'm going to go cry. I had also 10 sessions. You extended yours to how many?
12.
Okay, great.
Because I was just not being there.
No, but also, since I did psychology in undergrad, they said that sometimes, like, it can literally take 10 sessions for us to even figure out the foundation of your problems. Literally. So therapy is very good.
Yes, clock that, because for me, I went to therapy 10 times and only on my last session did when I was going to therapy come to light. Only on my last session. I was like, this is what I wanted to say. And for me, and I'm going to be open and honest about this, I have never wanted to have children in my life, and I never wanted to get married in my life. And then only on the last session did we clock out why.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you, Queen, that's the information I wanted. You're not going to see me here. And for you, what was that aha moment that you got out of your therapy?
Exactly the same as you. The abandonment issues, the trust issues, the emotionally unavailable people around me, and feeling neglected. Like that's basically abandonment.
Exactly.
So I clocked that on my 9th session. On my 10th session, she asked me like one question: how do I envision my life?
Yeah.
Let me paint a picture of how, if they were to say I'm dying today and then this is the life that I want, what would it be?
Yeah.
And can I tell you, that was many years ago.
Yeah.
I can't even remember, but it was many years ago. I'm only living that life now.
Yes, honey. How was it like dating immediately after that? Did you make the same mistakes and had to evolve out of it? So take us through that.
So immediately after that, I think it was around October 2018 or 2019.
Yeah. This is around the time I met you.
Yes.
The Queen
Yes.
Sana was skinty as F. To the
Look at
bottom.
me now. And that time I was actually sick. I just didn't know that I was sick. Anyways, so I met this guy. He was everything that I wanted in a man. Never mind the fact that he was younger than me. I didn't mind,
Yeah.
because I was coming from this horrible marriage, and then there's this guy who wants to listen to me, wants to be there for me, and all of those
Hold
things.
on. Tell me you can continue by yourself.
All right. So now I'm with this man who does everything that I want. Supportive. He's there literally for everything and anything that I wanted. And then 6 months into the relationship, he goes and pay ilobola ekaya. That was the worst decision I've ever made in my whole entire life, because things after that quickly turned. He became physically abusive. He was literally 100 times worse than my first marriage. So I was like, you know what? Bye, bitch.
And what were you thinking at the time? Because even for me, and the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is people have this tendency of thinking just because you came into a realization of a wrong direction your life was heading, not necessarily because of yourself, but because of the way things are. I didn't ask to be brought up in the family that I was brought up in. I didn't ask for the parents that I had. I didn't ask for my childhood trauma. I didn't ask for these things. They happened to me.
Yes.
And as we grow older, we know that they happen for you because souls choose blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That. And then you get to that realization and then you start healing. And then people think it's like an overnight thing.
No, it's not.
It happens immediately after. And I want people to understand that it's a graduation. So how did you then, we're like, okay, so I'm moving on to the next one. Were you already in awareness of the fact that it's going to be a graduation? It's not like I'm going to leave this bad relationship and get into a perfect one.
Yeah, of
Quick
course.
and in a hurry.
Of course. Also, there was a point where the production guy last week said, please remind me. It just skipped me.
What did
I
you
had
say
it on
to
my
you?
tongue. I forgot.
Yeah,
But it's something that was like that got stuck in my head.
yeah,
He spoke about perfection.
yeah,
Yeah, I think you were talking about like physicality
Yes,
of things
yes,
and whatnot.
yeah.
So for me, you never find like anyone who's perfect out there. We all have our faults and whatnot.
yeah.
So I knew that as much as I am not perfect,
Yeah.
I'm also in this healing journey. I'm hoping to find someone who's also in the healing journey. One of the points that you touched on.
Yeah.
I was at that stage where I'm like, okay, let's heal together.
Yeah.
Let's see how we can help each other grow and whatnot. I never wanted like a perfect relationship,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I doubt anybody wants a perfect relationship. Do you want a perfect relationship, T?
I mean, if you're being delusional, yes, but it will never be. Honestly, like, it will never be. I've accepted the fact that you'll
Okay.
never be in a perfect
Queen, I've
relationship.
got no further questions for you. You can keep quiet.
I love his answers though. I mean, hello, in your delusional state.
And then, obviously, that was a graduation. You, in a relationship, you like, it's actually worse. And you are quick to move now because you know and you can sense, if I stay in this direction, then oops, it's going to lead me down the same
Yes.
path.
Yes.
And was that then the graduation that happened to you up until you are sitting now lovely with the love of your life?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you learn about relationships and romantic relationship in your ascension from the bottom to now being in a relationship that you said is really feels like it's the first one, because it's the first one where you feel like, hello, we are sitting in this awareness, we know what we want, we've got these parameters and our non-negotiables, we have this foundation, we have this evaluation, we have these things.
So, there's a book that I'm currently reading right now by Viola Adams. It says Finding Me. There's a part where she said she had to stop
It's
running.
Viola Davis, every board.
Sorry, Viola Davis. Well, where does the Adams come from?
I have no idea.
Same here. Same here. Viola Davis.
Because I was like, she's
Yes.
going to talk about the same book she posted about in the group, or is this another book?
No, it's the
I-
same one.
As a bookie myself, I'm happy that my friends are out here reading books.
And you gave birth to that, by the way.
Hello, thank you.
So, I actually, when I read that book, like literally her opening line, okay, well, not necessarily her opening line, but where she says, I had to stop running to find me. I realized that I actually stopped running 6 years ago, but I didn't realize that I was at that stage until I read her book to say, whatever that I was going through, it had to happen for me to be where I am today.
Yeah.
Because it was a preparation for what I am here now. I don't want, I've never pictured myself with a man that is emotionally available. I've always said, men are trash, men are this, men are that, because of the past experiences.
Yeah.
But look at me now. I can comfortably sit here and not speak to my man for an hour or two. I won't feel a pinch. But with the previous relationships, girl, I'll be on my phone, stalking your social media.
I'm checking your heart rate when you come home.
Yes.
I'm smelling your underwear.
Yes.
I'm checking how the car is leaning on the passenger side.
Yes.
I'm checking the
All of
That's
that.
too
So
much.
I found myself 6 years ago, and that was the best thing that ever happened for me. And realizing that the fear of abandonment that I had played a huge role in my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are triggers, more especially if you just met a person and then you start doing the same things that, oh shit, here we go again. But then you quickly come back and say, but why are you self-sabotaging?
Yeah.
You know? So stop running and finding myself as the best thing that I ever did.
Amen, Queen. Amen. Conclude this. What are some of the challenges of being in your dream relationship? Because obviously there's always going to be some challenges.
My dear, all I can say is when you meet someone, like I'm in my 30s now, and then you meet someone, obviously they should be older than you, I believe. Because if you're dating a younger child, you're still going to be raising another baby's mom. So the challenges that we're currently faced with is the time that we spend together.
Yeah.
Because obviously I've got kids, he's got kids.
Yeah.
So what we decided on doing is just collaborating our schedules. When the kids are away on his end, my kids are also away on ours. But unfortunately, the challenges, those are the challenges that we're facing. And also the fact that there are triggers that sometimes...
Yes, I'm so happy, friend, because I wanted that was going to be my next question, so go ahead.
All right. So sometimes you find that there's triggers that I do that he is still healing from, because obviously he's a divorcee and I'm also a divorcee, so
you guys are double D.
Double D, baby.
Guys.
So I had to learn his fighting style as much as I learned his love languages.
Yeah. Thank you, Queen, for adding an additional layer to this. We appreciate it.
So I had to learn his fighting style, and then he had to learn mine, and then we came to a compromise where we're like, okay, there's certain things that I'm going to entertain more, especially when she's acting like this.
Yeah.
I know that there's something that I did to piss her off.
Yeah.
And then when...
That's important. That's definitely important.
Yeah. And when he does something, and then I'm like, okay, it's one of those episodes, let me not even ask. Let me just let him be.
Exactly. To sort of like bring into summary what Natasha was saying, get a partner that understands you, understands your needs, understands your wants, but also know that you are not perfect yourself. And that a relationship is a construction site, will forever be a construction site. And then, Queen, just to close it off for us, what advice would you give the 30+ gang? Because everybody and their mama is always like, oh, if I come to once again, guys, by your 20s, libala. Khohlwa, just forget about it. Forget about it. You're never going to find your love. Never gonna find true love. You're never gonna find a partner. You're never gonna find someone who loves you. Like Jay, if you clock into your 30s, forget about love. Forget about having an affair, growing with someone that's gonna be continuing for a long time, long-term relationship.
So for me, I would say never give up on anything that you solely believe in.
Exactly.
And everything has its own time and pace. Isaiah 60:22, I, the Lord, will make it happen when the time is right.
Okay.
Live by that, and do not self-sabotage to say, I'm not pretty enough, I don't have the BBL, I don't have the big boobs, or I'm not pretty enough.
There's a time for everybody.
Yes. Your person is still out there looking for you.
Don't be fake.
Yeah.
Don't be fake.
Yes.
You're gonna attract the wrong person with your fakeness. Be exactly who you are.
Who you are. Who you are. If you imali zana yikhupha wasebhandini ntoba point.
I need 10K by the end of this week. Or more.
Yeah.
Those Nisha guys,
Yes, be authentic and also don't rush things, because the mistake that we do in our 30s is because we want to chase the clout to say my parents was expecting me to be married at this age or whatever. When it is not your time, it will not happen like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sand.
Last words, my guys.
Last words. Stop trying to heal your inner child, because that child has survived.
Mm-hmm.
That's also Viola
Exactly.
Davis.
No.
Now,
I must see you again, guys.
Sana. Cut.
Comments.
With that being said, we have no more information.
No more information to give to the masses, honey. Please do comment, do subscribe, and tell your friends, because